Hey guys, welcome back. If you were here with me this morning or if you did a little catch up. Sorry, little technical difficulties. So anyways, welcome back. I hope that if you didn't do live with me this morning that you had a chance to go back and view it. Because what's going to happen is each class is going to build off the rest. So I am trying to, hey, a couple of you are coming on. Hi, Lane. You're so faithful, my faithful mentor. Anyways, because I'm labeling them so that if you do go back and watch them, you can just enter in the search bar, the sessions. Hi. Oh, and Karen, she's my newest builder, and I'm so excited for her. And Kelly, hey. Very fun to see you. So I wish you guys could see my little notes, and then on my little iPad, the camera, I can't stand just staring at a dot, so on my iPad, I did a Sharpie pen with a little smiley face. So I think that you're smiling at me, hee. It's hard for me just to be talking to myself here. So, and then I have all my little notes and things I want to talk about. So, this is going to be, I just lost my little marker here. This is going to be session 3 and 4. We did 1 and 2 this morning, and this is on following up after class and sharing the business side of doTERRA. So real quick, let's just review. Hi, Susan. Let's see, I'm getting better looking at my notes and looking at what you're saying, what you're typing. Yes, you're here. I'm not really talking to myself. It just feels like I'm staring at a dot with a smiling face under it. Anyways, let's review. This morning I talked about the Fred factor, and I showed you one of my favorite books called The Fred Factor and The Power of You, and what was so special about this ordinary mailman. It was just that he was special. He found value in everything he did. He added value to others. He felt joy in sharing his passion for what he did. He made an ordinary job very ordinary and very special. So that was my challenge to you, to realize how special you were. And then I reminded you that I love self-help books myself, and I love going to conferences, and that's all great. But I was reminded, and I wanted to remind you, self-help books are great, but to maybe read less and apply more. Maybe that sounds easier said than done, but we're all kind of guilty of that. And then I talked about the importance of sampling before a class. And really, you're just setting yourself up for success. And if you really do sample before a class, for one, you're giving like the best service to your friends, but you're making yourself successful in that. Basically, when you host a class, really what you're doing is just signing people. This is they're just there because they already love what you gave them to sample. So that's a really positive thing. That it's just really important, and I can't emphasize enough that you can't come to a class without having a really good oil experience first. So that's super important for you. And then to always invite at least 10 people. You're hoping for 7 to 8 people would be a perfect class. But again, we don't always get the perfect scenario, but that would be a perfect class. And that even 2 to 3 people around your kitchen counter or sitting at a Starbucks is a class. I did that with my friend Kelly Buchanan when I was doing Diamond Club. We just added a last minute class. I sat at Starbucks. I didn't reserve a table. I just got there early, sat myself down, got out my little flip chart and papers, and 2 people came and joined, and we signed them both up. So, oh, my husband, why is he messaging me right in the middle of my talk? So anyways, a class can be 2 to 3 people. But the perfect scenario also, and I have not always had this, and you won't always have this, but a perfect scenario is that you would be teaching a class with somebody, and so that they could help you. So again, that's a great way though to partner with somebody that's newer than you, and they can help you also while they're learning from you. So that would be good. So I talked a little bit about it this morning. I'm going to go into it a little bit more, but at 10 minutes before the end of the class, I want you to give, whoever's closing the class, to give their most powerful testimony. And I'm not talking about a miracle story. I'm really not. Those might be great, but I think that's less believable. So I'm not talking about a miracle. I'm just talking about your own most powerful story of what the oils did for you. So that it's just enough of a powerful testimony that it's believable and people see why you're doing what you're doing. And then really what I'm explaining, so you would be explaining, is why do you get out of your house at night? Or like me, why do I get on a plane and leave Keith? There must be something that I so believe in the oils that I'm willing to leave my husband and get on a plane, or you're willing to leave your comfort zone and teach a class, or you're willing just to share. What is that reason? So keep that before you, and then just say what the oils have done for you. And then I'm going to go into a little more specifics. I touched on it today, but the close of the class. There's just 3 ways to get the oils. And so number 1 is retail. And none of us here are going to purchase retail today. That's for spas and chiropractors because they're selling it. Okay. And the 2nd way is wholesale. It's like a Costco card. You're able to purchase anytime with a 25% discount. And then there's below wholesale. This is the smartest and most effective way to get the oils. And it's the only way that I purchase the oils. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that later. So that's the 3 ways that we're sharing with people at the end. We're not even touching on LRP because that sounds too MLM. So that's something, I know I've touched on it before. I'm not going to do that anymore. You wait until you can do your one-on-one follow-up with them. And so then I say, I'm going to explain to you what's going to happen. And this is what we're going to do. And now this is where it'd be really great if you had more than just one Modern Essentials book. If you only have one, you're going to have to say huddle around and look up your problems. But if you have more than one book, then you're going to pass out the books. That does a couple things. For one, it kills time for you while you're helping Susie over here. Lane over here is looking up her issue, that kind of thing. So you're going to pass out the Modern Essentials books to everyone, and you're going to say, I want you to look up, just one thing tonight. Just look up one element. You might have a lot more, but let's just work on one tonight. Look up one thing that you'd like an answer for. And me and my partner, which could be Gwen or Jolie or a new person, me and Karen, we're going to come around and help you with that and answer your questions. And so really what you're doing is you're helping them find the answer to what they just shared with you as their ailment. And again, I talked to you this morning about not assuming that people can't afford it and not assuming that you need to offer them the Family Essentials kit because it's the cheapest kit. Don't assume that. And I love, Elise said to us, and like, why didn't I ever think of it this way? When you go to the doctor and I know if you're like me, you don't go to the doctor to like the last resort, but if you go to the doctor and you're waiting for him to help you and, how do I get fixed of this? Does your doctor say, Sherry, what's in your budget tonight? Or what are you comfortable with? And then I'll help you with your answer. No, your doctor doesn't do that. He just gives you what you need, or he suggests to you what your fix is. So why don't we do the same, help them. This is you've shared that this is what you need help with. This is what I suggest for you. Now, of course, from there, if they need to budget down, of course, you can give them those options. But again, I thought that was a really good reminder, is why do we always think we have to take the cheapest route? So anyways, and then I basically, when I'm working with them one-on-one, and now they've just shared with me and they're going to share a kit, I've helped them pick the kit for them. I basically say something like, hey, now that you're investing in oils, I want to invest in you. And then I follow up with, I need to set up a consult with you that I can best help you and get you your answers. And so again, I talked this morning about creating value, and I noticed that what Elise Shedevy did is that she created value in everything she did. Like, it was almost like people were so lucky that they had time with her. And that's what you want people to realize, is that you're investing in them. You appreciate that they invested in oils. You want to invest in them and you want to help them. So anyways, the number one thing that you're going to do that night is you're going to take their paperwork. Like I said, you're not going to do the paperwork that night. And you're going to tell them, hey, I'm going to go home and enter this tonight, but I really want to set up a wellness consult with you so I can really help you. And then you're going to be doing that. And we're going to talk specifically more about that after the 4th of July on the 5th. I'm just going to touch on it tonight. But anyways, get that wellness consult set up. And then I'm going to talk about following up after a class. And I have a bunch of little tools for you. Again, just like with everything, how I say we lead in our strengths and we lead with who we are. And I want you to teach a class with who you are, because we're all different. And I really mean that. Well, in the same way, we all have different strengths in how we organize. Like, for some people, their space might look really messy, but it makes sense to them. Or somebody might have like sticky notes everywhere. You got to do what's good for you. And like today, I talked about how I blew it with following up with the lead. And then Gwen had posted, like, she immediately puts it in her phone, marks it as a reminder, and I'm like, duh, why didn't I think of that? So you have to do whatever works for you just so you don't forget. But anyways, there's all different kinds of tracking systems. So I'll show you one that I created. And again, anything I created means it's in my computer, and I'm happy to share it with you. But there's stuff that you create. Everyone's different. I've seen stuff that Debbie Harris, she's pretty new, and stuff she's creating. I'm really proud of her. So there's stuff that you create, stuff I create. Share Success has some incredible tools, and they're already made for us, and they have a whole notebook. I remember Carrie and I bought that like a few years back. I like part of it and parts of it I don't. So again, take and glean what you can. But a real simple one that I created, some of you I shared with a while ago when we had a retreat, but I just did it in an Excel sheet, and I can get 8 different people on one page. But it just says my action, and then I check when I'm done and the date. But like I entered them in the doTERRA computer site, check. I sent them a welcome letter, check. I sent them links and helps, because again, the more that we can resource them and the more that we can help them find the answers on their own is key. So I send them links, and really, I'm going to tell you, it's the same links that doTERRA sends you when we enroll them. It automatically kicks them an email. But like most of us, they're either overwhelmed with information or they lose the information. So getting the same links 3 or 4 times is perfectly okay. So anyway, send them links and helps. Send them the LRP video or show in person. Okay. Of course, I always like the follow-up in person. Yes, number one. And I always like that we can go through the LRP. But a lot of times, even if I am going to see them in person, I send them the link first and they can view it. But also the link is good. If you're doing this out of your city or out of your state and you can't meet with them right away, the link's incredible. And I put it right in a little email and I say, please watch this. It's only 7 minutes, and it's so easy because a lot of people are like me. They're more visual than reading. I don't like to read. I like to watch it, and it tells you what to click on. So it's a really nice LRP tutorial. And so I have that here. Followed up within a month to check that LRP is set up, check. And then added to Facebook pages. So you know there's my Sherry's Essential Oil page. Some of my leaders have their own pages. And then we have our upline, because they have pages that are for all of us to share info. And I hope you are on there, and let me know if you don't know what I'm talking about. But Lane and Becky have one where they invite all of us. And that's really good because you're just getting that much more people that you can ask questions or see what other people are posting. So it's really helpful to be on Facebook pages. So that's just what I do, and that's just like my little tickler file. I will tell you, when I've used this, I am a lot better at following up, and then when I get away from using this, I get unorganized and messy, and things slip through the cracks. And I don't like when things slip through the cracks because I'm not getting good customer service, and I feel really sad when I feel like I dropped the ball. And guess what? I have dropped the ball. So anyways, that's that. Then there's 4 different handouts I sometimes send. And I would never send them all at once. I probably think I made that mistake in the very beginning. But I never would do that anymore. It's way too much. It's way over their head. It's like probably scary. So what do? I made this one that's a new doTERRA user. Really, my intent for this, it's in bullet form, so it was never intended that they would read this and make sense to it. This was my reminder, my tickler, what to go over with them. And basically, this is like, okay, bottom line basics, bottom line information. What's the minimum they need to be helped with? So I have on here, and again, I would prefer to go over this with them in person because I made it in bullet form. It was meant to remind me, and then I need to explain it. So I do email it, but when I do email it, it was for the intention of saying, okay, let's set a date where we can go over this together on the phone. So that is how I use it, but it helps me know what I need to cover. So it says things like understanding LRP, helping them understand the benefits. And if you've heard me say this once, you've heard me say it 100 times, the more comfortable we get explaining LRP, the more comfortable that we get to understand it is the best deal out there and the benefits of it, the more comfortable we are explaining it. And it sounds so natural because it really is best for them and it's not a sales pitch. So anyways, understanding auto ship. It's been very few and in between, but I just had one recently. It's almost funny to me, but it's kind of sad funny. And luckily, she's not She's way under me. She's not my downline directly, but it makes me sad when people have made comments like, well, I canceled my LRP because I didn't like that doTERRA just automatically sends me stuff. And I mean, you gotta like politely like say, doTERRA never automatically sends you stuff. You do have to edit your cart. So what I now remind people is, you know, whatever is important to us, like a doctor's appointment or a dentist appointment or lunch with a friend, or basically anything that's on the calendar, we have to schedule it. And I know, if, you know, a lot of us, I could be flaky myself. I can be very flaky. So I have to set reminders in my phone. So I just say, people, set a reminder in your phone 2 days before your ship date to edit your cart. So again, whatever system works for them, but just remind people to edit their cart. And I like to remind them that, and remind them also that there's no minimum, and that, you know, even just spending $5 keeps their LRP active. So just going over those basics with them. And so auto ship, editing, and then I love to highlight free shipping, because, you know, you get 100% of it back by participating in LRP. So that's another cool thing. Whether I spend $3.99 on shipping or $25 on shipping, I get 100% of it back. So to not explain that, we're really doing them a disservice. That's huge. And then I always remind them of the qualifying freebies. In the beginning, and I mean, you're like me, it takes a little bit before you get those 4 major numbers down. $50, meaning that is what grows your rebate from 10 to 30%, and it's done in 3-month increments. It doesn't have to be 3 months in a row, but it does have to be 3 months. So 3 months of spending 50, I go from 10% to 15. Then 3 months of spending 50, I go from 15 to 20, all the way up to 30%. So that's super important to explain that. And I mean, once you get up to 30% rebate on top of your 25% wholesale, that's 55% off. So that's awesome. That's a lot of free. So yeah, I love that. And then also, just to remind people that there is that $25 a year renewal fee, because I don't want anybody to think that we try to sneak that in. So just remind them there is a $25 a year renewal fee, but they send you a free bottle of peppermint. So again, I love using Costco as an example. I would have to renew with them for the privilege of getting in the warehouse and buying wholesale, and they don't give me anything free. doTERRA, it's 25 year to renew, but I get a free bottle of peppermint that retails for over $26. So that's pretty cool. But I like to remind them of that. And then I just go through all the LRP benefits. So, you know, right off the bat, it's that I'm paying sales tax on wholesale, versus if I place just a one-time order, I'm going to pay sales tax on retail. That I do get 100% of it back in shipping rewards. That I do get to purchase LRP only special deals, like the skincare, I get an extra free item. The lifelong vitality, I get an LRP only packaging price. Plus, I can buy 3 extra things for only $20, which is a huge savings. For instance, the Deep Blue polyphenol pills that are $59.50 already is a good price wholesale, but I can buy them for $20 if I add them on to my lifelong vitality vitamins. I will say to you, this has been, for me anyways, the number one thing new people don't get is how to add on the extra items to the LLV for that great substantial savings. So definitely want to go over that with them. So there's just a lot of benefits to the LRP. And then I like to define the user, sharer, or builder. And then again, the qualifying amounts, the $50, again, that's to grow your rebate. The $100 is what from now on in we'll always refer to as a qualifying order. For you and me, that equates to a commission check. For the customer, it equates, well, for us, having them on your Power of 3 team, you need at least 3 people and yourself to have 100. So again, that's the qualifying order. And then at the 125, it gets them the free product of the month, different product every single month, and a great way to build your oil collection. Let's see. Thanks. Love your comments. And then the 200 usually happens quarterly. I think only one time ever in my 3 years has it not been exactly quarterly. It was just when I started explaining that happens quarterly that they changed it up. But usually it's quarterly, and we have that like we just had, the free Immortelle. That's huge. It's always at least $70 to $90 value, and that's if they spend $200. So great way, like in December, that's when we all stock up on our frankincense. So just to explain those 4 amounts, and I have that on a handout, and you can go through that with them. And then how to spend their points, you know, $3. Again, we don't want them to think that we left anything out like that. And so that's that. Then I have 3 different handouts. And again, I say handouts, but I email them. And it's just a great, change the first line to, hey, thinking about you, hope you're doing well, hope you're having fun experiencing with your oils. If you have any questions, let me know. Something like that. But then I just, it attaches sites, and again, the links. And this is why I do prefer the email versus sending this to them. I have sent these in the mail, but then the links aren't live. So if I email into them, they can click on it and it's a live link. So anyways, you can get those from me. I would never send them all 3 at once. I send a welcome letter. I send this that I just went over, if we're going to go over it in the phone, as the checklist. And then maybe in 2 weeks or a month, I'll send another one. So sometimes I never make it to the 4th one, but I do have 4 of them. So I have those that I can share with you. And then I always tell people anywhere on my team, we feel like there's no plagiarism with our team. Like, you're welcome to use anything of mine, and I don't even care. You don't have to say you got it from me, and you're welcome to change my name to your name. Make it your own. In fact, I'd love you to make it your own and make it personal. But why reinvent the wheel? We're all about being duplicatable. We're all about making it as easy as possible so that we all succeed. So we like to share what we've already done. So those are 3 handouts I have. Now, I have done something new that I wasn't doing before. I've done this in the last year, and I do have a little assistant. Actually, I have 2. I have an 11-year-old assistant, and then I have a college-age assistant, and they get paid differently, and they do different things. But my 11-year-old is great for doing labels and my inventory, and but she puts together these packets. And now I have a whole entire packet that I give people in person at my wellness consult. And again, I'm going to go into the wellness consult part of it more on the 5th, but I'll tell you what's in my packet. Again, that same paper that I just go over, because if they're not in person, I email them that, and that was just everything I just went over, what to do. Then I almost hate to share with you, because the next things I give are not compliant in what we call the compliant language, but that is why I would never give them out at a class. And what I explain to people, the difference between doing research and teaching at a class. When we're teaching at a class, we need to use compliant language, and we don't make outlandish claims, and we don't use drug scenarios. We don't even talk about sunburn, because that's a symptom. But when I'm doing one-on-one and I'm just sharing with a friend and helping them, it's okay to use some medical terms, not even medical terms, but like I have papers that compare to like what lavender does compared to over-the-counter stuff. So I would not give this in a class. I do hand it out in my wellness, with my wellness consult and with my new people packet. So I just have one on comparing over-the-counters to oils, and then the 10 top oils, because majority of our people have either purchased the Home Essentials Kit or the Family Essential Kit. So there's the top 10 oils and what to do with them. So again, I give them that. And then the lemon, lavender, and peppermint, you know, it used to be all of our favorite handout, and used to be on our favorite site, Everything Essential. And then when we went to the compliant language, we had to not use that anymore. But I just love what 101 uses for lemon, lavender, and peppermint. So again, I don't hand it out at class anymore, but I do it on my one-on-one follow-up. So that's my new people kit, and that's my 11-year-old wonderful assistant. Delana puts this together for me. Then I wanted to go over a couple things that I bet you have right in front of you and you haven't been taking advantage of. So one is the Living doTERRA Naturally, this, and this is in your class in the box that we went over today. And I'm just saying, maybe you're better than me. You probably are, but I had the box a long time ago, but I still didn't go through every single thing in it. It's also in your welcome packet, another thing I didn't read when I got it, so I just know most of us don't. But the living doTERRA naturally is a great thing to use with your one-on-one follow-up. Now, I did find out, because I was just talking to Debbie Harris about it today. She was, again, I'm so proud of her. She's creating some paper and a tickler of what to follow up with. And she also wanted to show people the progression from 10 to 30%. And I said, oh, don't recreate it. It's in the living doTERRA naturally. So here's what I found out. This is the old one. I love it, love it, love it. And then when they did the new one, they kind of deleted a couple of the pages. So the old one has 13 survey questions. The new one has 10. Either way, it doesn't matter. It has 10 to 13 questions that you can ask people. And then it has the answers. So like the number one is, do you prefer to avoid chemicals and synthetic scents found in standard laundry detergents? Would you use a natural alternative for removing stubborn stains and daily grime from clothing? Yes, no. Well, obviously, if they're interested in that, you would share with them the On Guard detergent, things like that. So that's the questions there. See if you can see that. And there's 13 questions. I know Kathy Hunsaker always shares about this and uses it. The new one has 10 questions. I didn't even look at which 3 they eliminated. But the one thing, and I love, love, love this. So I'm going to tell you to use this. They're only 40 cents. They are in your back office. And they're 40 cents. Well, they're 50 cents if you just buy one. But if you buy the pack of 10, they're $4. So that drops it down to 40 cents. So use this. It's incredible. Again, it just makes you look like a pro because the information's right there. But I do like, not only does this one have 13 questions, what it does have that the other one that they eliminated is the page that, for instance, Debbie wanted. You might want that too. See that? It has the 10%, 15, 20, all the way up to 30%. And then it has the same thing I put on my paper, the 10, 50, 100, 125, and 200 price points and what those get you. So I scanned it. So if anybody wants the old version, which is incredible, I can send it to you. So let me know if you want that. Then I talked today about the value and the huge value in the class in the box for $25, and I brought it down to $2.50 a person. And I told you you didn't have to give them the orange. You could save that for another use. So say you do want to be even more price effective than the $25. The exact same handouts that are in the class in the box, instead of spending $25, you can spend $2.50, and that gets you 10 of these. So what's that? 25 cents each. So you don't have to give the orange away. You don't have to give the magazine away. If you want to go on the slim side, just order yourself these. They're in your back office, and you get 10 for $2.50. The papers that I was talking about today that you just teach a class from just by reading. So how affordable is that? 25 cents to teach a class, 25 cents per person. So why don't you go through all that with you. So talk about the tracking system. You can use mine. You can make one of your own, or you can buy it from Share Success and go for theirs. But use something, because it's the worst thing ever when we drop the ball, and I've done it way too much. I don't like it. So let's give really good service by following up with people. It just shows value. Everything we're doing is about creating value. Then I do the handouts that I email to people, and I do like one in the beginning, one in about 2 weeks, and then one in about a month. You're just really getting people successful right off the bat, because really after that, they just roll on there and they don't even hardly need you. Your goal is to show people how to use oils. How do you use the oils in the AM? How do you use oils in the PM? I mean, just from using your very own example. So like for me, I drink lemon in my water daily. I use the vitamins AM and PM. I get my diffusers going in the morning. When I'm sitting here in my office, I use like Motivate or Passion or something like that. I diffuse for my alertness. But then at nighttime, I take my vitamins again. I put Serenity on the bottom of my feet. I diffuse Serenity and Vetiver. Most of you know that's my story. That's how I got addicted to the oils, because I could sleep through the night, me and Keith, without using melatonin, without using Tylenol PM. So that's my story. That's what got me so much believing in these oils. So give them examples of how you use your oils AM and PM or throughout the day. Bottom line, we want to get people on 3 to 5 oils that they can't live without. So that's what you want to do. That's going to help you with your LRP. That's going to help them learn how to use oils in place of other things. I like to point out that I myself don't want to be adding to my budget, but that really I'm just moving money from here to there. I'm no longer buying cleaning supplies. I'm no longer buying stuff from the drugstore. I'm now buying it all through doTERRA, and I'm getting compensated for it, and I'm getting points back and free oils. So I like to help people understand all that. And then bottom line, remember I said today, a lot of people, it takes about 5 to 8 touches before they enroll in a wholesale account. We want to, every time we sit with somebody, every time we touch, we want to do a touch, a follow-up, a touch. We want to always have an invite. We always want to have something that we can call them back for again, that we can add value, that we can invite them to. So one thing I learned from Elise that I liked, we've all done, myself, all my team, we've done a lot of classes, but I think you want to be careful, or just, again, it's about being effective. If you want to have oil groups and oil clubs, and you want to have oil parties every single day, that's okay. But if you want to be more effective with your time and more careful with your time, you might want to think about doing the basic classes over and over and over and over, because that's how you intro people to oils. That's how you share with new people. That's how you show people under you that you're duplicatable, easy breezy, over and over classes. But then it's like the what's next with people. We have to help them. We have to resource them. So Elise suggests having 8 repeating continuing education classes. All of us, that'll look a little different. Jolie does a thing called Oil Camp. That works for her people. It might just be 8 classes that you rotate through, and you're constantly inviting people to those 8 continuing education. These are not the ones where I share and do the close. This is just 8 continuing education classes. And then in addition, 4 of those, Elise does basic business classes. So that means you'd have 8 classes. Of those 8, 4 of them for the additional half an hour or so would be a basic business class to get them resourced on their business building. But I have like 8 different, and I'll post this afterwards, but 8 different kinds of, well, there's actually like 11 that I posted, but you would pick like 8, and you might have some of your own. But like basic of essentials, pain management, aroma touch, emotions, lifelong vitality, the science of essentials, cleanse and restore and how to do the cleanse, hormones and women's health, skincare, sleep, and cleaning. So that's 11 of them you might have. I talked to Debbie today. She has in her family the need to do like mommies and baby classes. So it just shows you can have all different classes, but choose 8 and then rotate and just do them over and over and over. So you're always doing your basic classes, and then you're always doing your continuing education classes. And then you're also offering 4 business building training classes. So that's kind of how you would do that. And the other thing, the being candid part here is, when I, again, talk to myself, and I know how I was in the beginning, I think it's a privilege to work from home, and I think it's a challenge to work from home, because some of us, more than others, I have a problem sitting still, and I have a problem not always getting things done. And so I always think, well, I work from home, yay. So I will go to my office, but I might as well throw a load of wash in first, or I might as well do this first, or might as well do this first. That's the privilege of working from home, right? But the next thing you know, I've dwindled away all my time. So whatever time you have, and you do need to pick some time that you can dedicate. If you're here because you've decided to build a business. So I can say this to you, whatever time you choose, whether it's 1 hour or 5 hours a week, whatever time you choose, honor that time and give that time to doTERRA. So do rainmaking activities. And what I mean by that, don't just check your back office. I do check my back office a lot, and I'm also going to talk about checking your back office, but that's not what I'm talking about spending your hour a day or 5 hours a day doing. If you were at another job where you worked for another employer, where you got a paycheck outside of your home, and you had 2 more hours on the clock, could you sit there just looking out the window or twiddling your thumbs? Most of us, I'd say 99% of it is no. Now, I have seen a few minimum wage workers that are allowed to just read a magazine at their desk, but I know it doesn't look very good, and most people don't. Most employers don't allow that. But what do you have to do? You find something to do. You organize your area, or you you clean what you're doing at your work. So with us at home, we would not sit there and just twiddle our thumbs or stare out the window, but I would use that time to do 2 follow-ups. Who am I following up with? Well, I have my prospects that I need to follow up with. People, go back to your 100 list, or people you've met. I follow up with them. I have to follow up and schedule my wellness consults and follow up with them. Those are my new team. And then I have to follow up on the people who have said, yeah, I'd like to do this as a business. I have to follow up with my builders. So really, I mean, it's not a lot to ask to follow up with 2 people a day. And I've heard this principle, but when I actually started doing that, it's like, wow. Jolie calls it her power hour. You call it whatever you want, but this can be really effective. And if you could just follow up with 2 a day, or just send out 2 samples a day, wow, you will see you progress a lot faster. So again, you're going to balance your time between your prospects, your wellness consults, and encouraging and resourcing your builders. So real quick, decided I wanted to touch on that because you're builders. I remember John Maxwell. He's a mentor of mine, Lane's too. A lot of us, went to Skyline, and a lot of us were lucky that we got to be in his leadership circle, and we got mentored by him. And I always admired him because he's a very strong leader. But he always said the greatest compliment is that your leaders can grow up to be better than you. And I think that maybe sometimes if we're a little tad bit insecure, that it feels awkward for your leader to be better than you. But whenever I let that lie creep into my head, I try to pray against that lie and stop that lie and realize it's the greatest compliment and the greatest thing when my leader can be even better than me. And I have some great leaders on my team with Jolie and Gwen and Gail. And I just think that to celebrate your leaders, and I know that there was a time when I accidentally, and it was accidentally, but is in my newness, building my doTERRA business too, that when I was challenging my leaders and doing my follow-up calls and saying, hey, how you doing? And, how's your enrollments going? That it I guess apparently came across to one of my leaders that I cared more about the numbers than her. And we had a little bit of an awkward moment, but the good news is that we had lunch together and we were able to process together and be honest. And when I heard that she felt that way, I was actually kind of crushed because that was never, ever, ever my intention. And the fact that I came across that way, it hurt me, but there was lots to learn from that. And I have these, I got these at Soul and Fire last year. I went to, before convention, to a little training with Brianne Hovey, and it was called Soul on Fire. And I bought these power cards, and every once in a while I go through some of them. And there's this one, and it says, my greatest challenges are my greatest gifts. So that's kind of what I'm explaining with the person I was just talking about is, I was really hurt, and I was hurt that I hurt her. So that was kind of a challenge and an ick moment, and I didn't like it, but it became my greatest gift because we become even closer. And so that's what I guess I want to share with you is that let your greatest challenges, let your insecurities, let your the things that are hard for you, let them become your greatest gifts. And if you're at all a believing person, then you can claim a scripture that I like that says, in my weakness, he is strong. So I really believe that, and that's important for me to claim that. That's usually when I can lean on my God and lean on my strength. So whatever you need to do, I'm just going to encourage you to lean on that place. Let your weakness be your strength in that way. So anyways, I also wanted to remind you, we talked about the Living doTERRA Naturally, and that you can get those for 40 cents in your back office. I also want to remind you, I really think that we're underutilizing doterra.com. There's tons and tons of resources there. And if you go to the advocates and then follow down the drop menu, there are so many resources. and there's Wellness Advocate. You go to Wellness Advocate and then go to Flyers, and you'll find tons of handouts. So there's things like the product approved claims list. Yay. So that means if you're nervous and you're new and you're saying, oh my gosh, I've heard them talk about compliancy, I don't know what I can say and what I can't say. Go to that product approved claims list, because it tells you exactly what you can say per product. Then there's even a little coloring page if you want to give it to kids or give it to adults, or you know how they say it's good for us to color, keeps our brain smart. Then there's the emotional aromatherapy poster. I know I had to buy my first one. I don't know, they were $3 or $5, but you can get it to free on doterra.com. And then there's the enrollment kits. So a lot of times you might not have your packet with you from your class in the box, or you might run out. Go there and just print them. They're free, enrollment kits. There's the oil properties wheel. That one's really good. I like it because it's kind of over my head in that how the oils affect our brains and all the emotional ones. But that the property wheel chart is super, super helpful, and you can print that out. You can have your oil reference chart. And those are all things for classes and helping people. But then for the business side of it, there's class outlines. I mean, it tells you guides you how to do a class. And then there's the compensation plan, which I definitely want you to share, because we're talking about sharing the business side of doTERRA. So you say, here's just the average compensation. There's the enrollment kits. There's the loyalty rewards program. Again, there it is laid out for you in a brochure of the loyalty rewards. There's the earning disclosure. So you're not just pie in the sky guessing at how doTERRA as a company did, or how the ranks do. You can print that out. There's the policy manual. I really haven't needed that, but you might need that. And then there's the whole power of 3 chart. You know, that's key to understanding how that works. And then there's the quick claim guide. So that's so important to have. And then the whole shipping rewards program that I talked about. So those are all just separate flyers. You can print all those out and use them, and you look like a pro, and you didn't have to recreate them. So what I want to remind you on sharing the business side of doTERRA, and again, what Elise reminded us is do it at a class. You already have this captive audience. If you did the sharing, the sampling way that we talked about, then you already have positive people who are there because they believe and like in the results of doTERRA. So now at the end of the class, super casual, you just say, hey, we're going to bring out the peppermint brownies. If you'd like to stay for 20 minutes and listen to me share about the business side of doTERRA, I would love to have you. Super casual, and you're not going into great depth. You're just maybe sharing like 3 things: the pipeline story, the basics of the comp plan, and the business success stories of doTERRA. Now, if you had your own business success, share yours. If you don't have one yet, borrow it from someone you know. All of you that are here, your own upline has business success stories. So quote people you know. It's believable because it's true. They're your own friends and acquaintances. So share that. So the pipeline story is that, you know, I love to share this story. And so this is great when they say you know, there was this man and he was in this village and they needed water, and the whole town was hauling buckets, hauling buckets, hauling buckets. And finally he says, well, gosh, what if I built a pipeline? Then we wouldn't have to haul buckets anymore. But the thing is, and this would be just like us, is just because he decided to build a pipeline, he didn't have that pipeline overnight. So this is kind of like us in our business. Some of us still have to keep our day jobs, or still have to do what we're doing. But in addition to that, and while we're doing that, we can spend a few hours a day or a week building our pipeline. And then it says, would you want to work 4 years for the benefit of 40? Because that's what residual income is. So you're just sharing the whole pipeline story, and you can actually print that out. Share Success has that in a really cool, beautiful brochure. So you can actually hand that out or just tell it from memory. But that's the pipeline story. And then you're going to give the basics of the comp plan. And there's 2 different ones you could use. There is, again, in the Building doTERRA Naturally, and you would not get this out at a class. This would only be afterwards when you're sharing with potential business builders. You could have them flip to page 8, and this is income earnings statement. And then when I was in Prague, Elise gave us very average, and she was quick to remind us, this is average. This is like a lot of people are way above average because they spend way more hours than the average, and some might spend less, and that's totally okay. Just know that then your numbers will take you a little longer. You'll get these numbers, it just might take you longer. So because Lane was asking me, and I was comparing the numbers in here that doTERRA has in the building guide with the average numbers that Elise gave us, and I saw if they computed, and they pretty much compute. The difference is pretty much the power of 3 bonus, because not everybody's getting that, and that's a whole nother talk on how important placement is, so that you get your power of 3. But anyways, this is the average. It's just very much the average, and it really helps. And I might do that as an overview, but I wouldn't go until I meet with them individually. Once they say, yeah, I'm interested, then I would go over the numbers again for the average, and I'd say, this is committing like 15 hours a week. Is that doable for you? They might be so desperate to get out of their job, they're like, I'm willing to commit 40 hours a week. Or they might say, I can't do that yet, I can commit 5. Well, then I would just take this number and divide it by 3. So anyways, I would just give the overview here, then later I would give the specifics. So I would talk about the pipeline story, the basics of the comp plan, and then really, and I would do this even more individually, but still here's the overview, is I just give them food for thought questions like, what would it mean to supplement or replace your income? It's kind of the same things I said to you guys in my intro for thinking about being online with me, is what would it mean to supplement or replace your income? And definitely listen to their needs, and even more when you meet with them one-on-one. What does it mean? Like maybe they're in a really, really, really bad marriage, but they're stuck because they can't leave financially. Or maybe they're in such a dead-end job that they're miserable, but they're not just miserable, it's physically hurting them because they are stressing about their job. So then what would it mean to get out of that job? They wouldn't be in physical pain anymore. They wouldn't be stressing. Listen to what they're sharing and then see how you could answer that. So listen to their needs, their wants, and their desires. And then remind them that it's all possible. You can make as little or as much as you want. It just depends on the amount of hours you want to invest. And so then I would go over the average salary and say just what I told you. It's the average. You can do it faster, you can do it slower, but this is the average. And then I'd like to remind people, because I know that sometimes I ran into the people, and you have too, that and I actually am kind of nervous by these people who are just going for the money. And I really, that's great, but not great for me, because I'm looking for someone who loves the product. They believe in it so much. And now they also would like to earn an income, but they're passionate about what the product does. When I just hear people that they just think, if they want to just jump on the bandwagon just purely for money, it sounds very MLM to me. It sounds very catchy. It sounds very like, here's the next thing. I'll try this. I've already tried 10 other things. Now I'll try this. That kind of scares me. So I'm looking more for the person who's really interested in the business because they believe and love essential oils. But then I'm also looking for the person who gets it, that you don't just say, yay, I'm signing up now, show me the money. Because we all know it takes time to build a pipeline. And I like to be really realistic about that. And also using myself, I seem to pretty much fall into the average, which is amazing considering I came on telling Becky and Lane that I would never, ever, ever do it as a business. But then, like I said, by me accidentally sharing just because I believed in it, then I realized, oh, I could do this, and it rolled into other things. But I just want to be cautioned about the person who jumps on board to make money and isn't willing to invest a little time or a little money. But with the investing of money, then I'd like to point out, you can start with as little as, and we've heard many diamonds talk about their stories, that they scraped together $150 for a family essential kit, went and did all kinds of classes with these 10 oils. Where on earth else can you start with a $150 investment and build a nice residual income? So that's what we're talking about. It's amazing that you can do that. So I don't think a $150 investment is very much. So anyways, then I would want you to end, and this is again in the business invite, with your story. What's it done for you? You heard my story is that it helped me with a cause that was bigger than me at our church, and to invest. And it helps that I do that on a monthly basis. And now we finished that commitment, and I'm helping with a pregnancy center that I really, really believe in, because that's important to my heart. So share what's important to your heart and what financially you're able to do because of this money you're making. So share that. And then just like how we kind of pre-qualify people for a class by sampling them, I want to pre-qualify people to be a builder. And this is where me and Lane and your leaders, we'd love to help you by all the wonderful mistakes we've made. But you know what? We didn't know any better. Elise said she would never, ever, ever place a user or a sharer on her front line. She would only place a builder. A lot of us didn't know any better, and we placed sharers, but they don't have the same commitment as a builder. And then we're like, oh. And so that's a whole nother talk on placement. But I think what I'm trying to say is, when someone says they want to do the doTERRA business, it's super important to see their follow-up first and what they do immediately. And a lot of times what Elise does is she even holds their enrollment. And you get their form and everything because that's their commitment. But if you want to hold them back, then you might want to loan them the oils. And you're loaning them, not selling them, because you want them to place an order and pay you back. But the reason she holds it is she waits to see what she gives them a couple things to see if they bite. Like maybe go make your list of 100 like we had you do. And then sample those 20 people. Schedule a couple classes. Wait to see if they actually do that. And if they do that, yay, this is looking really good. Now you can place them on your front line. But if they can't even follow through with that, they probably just want the pie in the sky money, but they don't want to do any of the work. So be careful and just know how you place people. And then, oh yeah, I said that. Never place users or sharers on your front line. She referenced it. I was going to grab a colander to show you guys, but she said it's like filling a bucket that has holes in it. And that's what we're doing when we're just placing people under people who never committed in the first place. And I know for me, I have people that I've placed incorrectly, and as frustrating as it is, I really can't blame them because they never promised that they'd be a builder, and then I built under them. So really the blame is on me. So more about that, and your enroller can help you with that. But this is all stuff your enroller will work with you individually on. And Elise reminded us that she never, and she's huge, she's the triple blue diamond, she never ever works with more than 3 to 4 leaders at the same time. And I was like, seriously? So I work with more leaders than she does? But that's because she only works with builders, and she doesn't help everybody else's builders. And that's because everything she does is intentional and everything she does is duplicatable. So again, let's remember that we don't have to be everybody's savior, and we don't have to be everybody's oil guru. Let's teach them where to get the help, and let's teach them how to be duplicatable, so that we're not the person that they always have to go to. Let's empower our leaders, and let's empower our downline leaders, and tell everybody how lucky they are to have them for a leader. And let's resource those people. So that's, gosh, how did we do on time? I think we did it. I'm trying to do all these within less than an hour. So that was like a touching on the follow-up. When we meet again, you're going to have 4th of July tomorrow. Woohoo! Go celebrate and have fun. Behave yourselves. But then we'll meet on the 5th back at 7 p.m. your time, Pacific time, 8 o'clock p.m. my time in Idaho. And then we're going to go over how to do a wellness consult and how to go over LRP. So I will continue to read your comments. It helps me know how to help you. And I'm so excited that you guys are committing this time. It's really, really fun to have you cyber likewise. And I look forward to seeing you on the 5th, and have a great 4th. And I really love and appreciate all of you. Talk to you soon.